Thanks, Michael. And hey, Walker, appreciate your time. Question about just like preparation for the World Cup. Have you guys started any sort of opponent-specific prep for Wales or even for England or Iran, like either as a team or even on your own outside of camp, maybe? Or is the plan to not really do much of that until the whole group gets to Qatar a week before the first game?
I know as players it's going to differ from person to person, and I know the coaching staff has definitely been talking about their game planning and getting that material ready for us. We haven't, as received that information yet as they continue to finalize, but I'm sure it's something that as seasons wind down for MLS players and as we get closer into October, I'm sure we'll start receiving that kind of information and get the scouting reports that we need heading into those matches. Yeah.
Next will be Doug McIntyre from Fox.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Walker. Appreciate you doing this. You and Aaron Long are the only two center backs that are still on the roster that was originally named. Aaron started 4 games in June. You started alongside him in 2 of those games. I know you have a history together, but playing those 2 games in June, how much do you think that will help if you guys are lined up together again this month? Thanks so much.
I think it's important. Anytime that you can build chemistry with another center back partner, it's helpful. So certainly we've had plenty of games, whether it's been this year or in the past, together. And then obviously, got a game with Mark during qualifying and, played a little bit alongside of Eric in qualifying as well. So we're excited with this group. We're excited with the players that we have. And ultimately, whoever takes the field, we're going to make sure we get as many reps as possible done in training. And you're right, these are 2 games where we can definitely grow that partnership on the field.
We'll go to Paul Tenorio from The Athletic.
Michael, and thanks, Walker. Just to follow up on Doug's question, you have played with a bunch of different guys at that position, 3 different guys in the last year and a half. Besides Miles, you played nine times with Miles over the last year and a half. How difficult has it been that there really hasn't been consistency at that position? 14 different combos for the national team since last summer, and now that you're in crunch time, what can you do, if anything, to try to speed that process up, knowing that the World Cup's right around the corner?
Right. I mean, I think it is helpful that these guys do have experience playing in games, whether it's with each other or not. They've gotten a taste of qualifying. We've gotten that kind of experience. And none of us have a lot of World Cup experience, and people can kind of hate on us for that or think that that is a disadvantage. But I also know how eager we are to get out there and prove to people, what we have in this group. In terms of center backs, Aaron and I, as you mentioned, have had a decent amount of games together in the past. And it's another opportunity, these 2 games, to get reps in, and that's in training and in the games. So it's already nice working on that today, first day in, and having those reps in training, whether it's build up or defensive work and shape, and just talking through a bunch of different scenarios and situations. And those are the kinds of practices that you're going to need to make sure you're all on the same page as a back 4 come November.
Sanjay, you're next.
Hi, Walker. Thanks for taking the time. Quick question about the fullbacks, some of the younger fullbacks in camp. Joe Scally and Sam Vines. If you could just talk about what you've seen from Joe, because the 2 last were with him in June. He's obviously been in good form in the Bundesliga. How you've seen his game grow as a right back, and then Sam Vines, how do you see him fitting into the group? Thanks.
I'm really excited for those 2 guys in particular. They're players that might not have been extremely happy with how they performed in their last cap, but have shown that their mentality is there, and they're going to continue to push and make a name for themselves at the club level. They're both performing very well for their clubs, which has obviously merited this call-up. And to see even first day of training, both of them, look confident, look like they're still willing to take risks and not be kind of on the back foot based on maybe their recent performances with the national team. They're in really good form, and I'm excited for them to get this opportunity at this camp.
We'll go to Leander Sherlock.
Hey, Walker. This is going to be a weird World Cup for all kinds of reasons, a lot of them off the field. So the coaching staff's been doing a lot of work to kind of prep you guys for that, just the social aspects of the World Cup as well as all the other stuff. What has that meant to you to have that prep and to have those briefings? And does it make you more comfortable going into this World Cup, especially with such a short lead-up time?
Well, I think, a lot of us don't have the experience, so it's going to be different no matter what. It's going to be our first time for most everyone. But I will say it is really nice when we get the briefings, whether it's about what's going on in Qatar or different, cultural things that are happening around the world for that matter. It's always nice to be briefed and to have a sense of what is going on and maybe a sense of what you're walking into. And, none of us are going to know exactly what that's like till we get there, but it's certainly helpful to get a bigger picture lens of what's going on.
Next will be Kyle Vaughn.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the time. Walker, obviously you can tell from the questions. I'm sure you've seen it, the chemistry between you and the other center backs here, a big topic moving forward towards the World Cup. But how important really is chemistry to a back four? Is it one of the most important things for you at the national level to build with your teammates, whoever's in camp? Or is it just kind of one of those things that's one on a long list of things that you're thinking about?
I think it's really important. I don't think it's the end all be all formula for success, but I think that having a chemistry and more than just with your center back partner, but with the entire back four, your goalkeeper, and especially the defensive mids in front of you, it is very important to have that relationship and have that understanding, whether it's from a tactical point of view or a communication point of view. I remember earlier on in this past couple of years, talks with both Matt and Zach about when we're kind of defending crosses. And I think the word was narrow or left or whatever. I'm like, well, sometimes we're facing different directions. Like, give us a clear thing. And so we sorted out the language that we wanted to use in a specific situation. Like, to me was ultimately clear. And so it's just like little things like that you have to do all over the pitch to figure out with other players how to best get along. So it is important. Is it the be-all, end-all? No, it's not. But it certainly is one of those things that you probably need to check off the list as you're moving into big moments.
Next up is Charlie Bone from MLSsoccer.com.
Hey Walker, building on your last answer there, because of the pandemic and all the other circumstances, you guys haven't, you've been playing a lot of CONCACAF matches, which I'm sure makes these two games very important. And arguably you haven't really played against an elite front line on the level of the ones that you're going to face in the World Cup. So I'm curious as to how that sort of guides your mentality and how you, if you can be ready for that sort of step up in both talent and stakes coming in November.
We certainly have had a lot of CONCACAF matches throughout qualifying. I thought the June friendlies were a very good opportunity for us to, like you said, have experience against Morocco, Uruguay, face some different types of teams, different level of competition. And I thought we handled it really well in June. And so these are two more games to get valuable experience to prepare for the teams and the types of players we might find in the World Cup. So, we're controlling what we can control. Can't control the opponent, but there's certainly ways that we can improve, whether it's CONCACAF or, European friendly. So we're looking at these two games certainly as building blocks to play against some really good competition and make sure that we're fine-tuning what we need to heading into November.
With the matches against Morocco, Uruguay, Japan, and Saudi Arabia, the U.S. will have played 4 different opponents who will be participating in the World Cup this November. Next will be Sam Statesville.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Walker. You've talked a lot about chemistry among the back four. I'm going to stick with that theme, specifically in how it relates to Greg wanting to play a high line with you guys. How does the chemistry and communication really play out in regards to you guys trying to press high and keeping a high line?
Yeah, I think one example I could give you is if a center forward is checking, back into the midfield and both of the center backs kind of start going with him because they're not clear. All of a sudden, if you have both of them stepping higher, then it opens up all the space behind with no one to cover. So that's a situation where you need to know exactly who's stepping, who's covering in that given moment if the forward's kind of in between you. So that's like that's an elementary type example of the ways that communication is important, but that's a ideal example of how communication in a high line can become a factor.
We'll go to John Lupo from Babel.
Thank you, Michael. Walker, you mentioned that you've had a lot of different combinations in the back. and there are some injuries that'll prevent some guys from being out there. But talk about also the goalkeepers. Matt now being in England, playing at the highest level. Sean being in this camp, having won MLS Cup last year. I know Ethan will probably get an opportunity at some point. Do you feel like the experience, the talent, and just the results that these goalkeepers have got will be able to help aid this somewhat inexperienced back line that you guys have as you go up against Japan and Saudi Arabia in these friendlies?
I think our goalkeeping situation is in a good place. You know, these are guys who come in, they compete well, and they train every single day at a high level. And so we have confidence with whoever is behind us in net. Really happy for Matt to get his debut with Arsenal. You know, happy that Sean is performing at a high level consistently in MLS, and certainly hope Ethan gets his chances in the upcoming matches at his club. So, you know, for us, we're confident with whoever's behind us. I know that they've done a really good job of pushing each other throughout this entire cycle of making it difficult for someone to lock down the spot, whether that's the starting position or, you know, a third goalkeeper position. So, you know, it's just a testament to them and their character that they're all fighting for an opportunity. And so I don't expect anything to change at this camp. And as I mentioned, ultimate confidence with those guys behind us.
Next will be Sergio Trevino.
Thank you, Michael. Walker, what do you think that someone like Chicharito, who is having a great season in MLS, will not be attacked?
It's probably hard for him on a personal level to feel like he's in good form and especially where he is in his career, to feel like you have more to give and not have a chance is, I'm sure it's frustrating. But he's, like you mentioned, had a great year so far in MLS. He's scoring plenty of goals, which seems to be his forte, and it was really nice getting the chance to meet and know him at the All-Star game on a personal level. Just a really genuine guy who is full of laughs and brought a lot more humor than I was expecting prior to meeting him.
Thank you.
Our last question for Walker comes from Andrew Jones.
Thank you, Michael. Walker, Matt Turner and you recently have become fathers, and having that bond right there, you becoming fathers with that, and seeing any difference from him in terms of him going from Arsenal in your mind, and you embracing the Thor full name and full labeling for you. How do you feel about how that's come to be, and how you probably in the biggest store now with Noah Syndergaard in sports?
No, it's great for Matt. I'm really excited for him and just the steps that he's taking in his career and on and off the field. I know he's really a proud dad. He's already talked so much about fatherhood and how much he's enjoying it, how it's added some stress to his life, but also brought joy. So I can totally relate to that part of it. And then in terms of Thor, you know, there are a lot worse little people that you can be called or have a nickname for. So the fact that it's Chris Hemsworth, the fact that it's a really cool character in the Marvel series, I mean, I'm absolutely honored. I'm going to keep writing it as long as I can.